beginning of the season. Then he dropped down. Then he kind of got hurt. He hurt his ankle. He was out. Now he's back. He's getting playing time. He's scoring points, getting rebounds, shooting 3-point shots. He's from the University of Kansas. But before I say his name, I do want to say LeBron James has made the All-Star team for 17 years in a row. Congratulations, LeBron James. That's an unbelievable accomplishment. 17 years in a row. That's unbelievable. They announced the All-Star team today. No surprises except Lillard's not starting. We'll talk about that later. But that all being said, my number one pick this week is Joshua Jackson from the Detroit Pistons. He's getting 30 minutes a game. He's scoring 16, 17 points a game. He's in 6-7 rebounds. He's getting blocks. He's getting playing time. And for this week, he's my number one pickup. I love this kid. And the coach loves him too. And the Pistons are getting better. They beat the Lakers. They beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee's lost like 5 in a row. And everything else, what I'm saying is this. Joshua Jackson, this week's number one pickup from Ross the Boss.
All right, now I have a question for you about the Joshua Jackson thing. But before we do, I want to remind anybody out there who hasn't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing. Change your mind if you don't like what you're hearing. That's completely wrong. Put your comments below. We can't wait to see what you have to say. We're happy to talk with you about it. Now, Ross, let me ask you this question. Is he your number one pickup because he's such a good play this week? Or do you think that this guy has what it takes to be a lasting member of a fantasy team that makes him the number one pickup?
A guy that's under 60%. Because your boy Hassan Whiteside is no longer, he's 73%. So I couldn't say his name this week. Joshua Jackson, I feel, will get playing time and his injury's over with. He's playing great. And he's somebody that I would pick up now. And I think he'll be good for the whole season. That's what I think.
All right. Because look, sometimes it's a great pickup for the week. And I don't think of those ever as must-haves, but I hear you. I would say I've never been that high on the guy. His shooting percentage is not that good. If you're playing in a points league, he's more valuable, but I don't have him as a must-have, but we'll agree to disagree. Casey, who is one of your must-haves?
I actually don't mind that as a must-have because I think the Pistons have shown that they're not committed to Blake Griffin anymore, and so they're going to give those younger guys a run. Actually, I had another Piston as a good pickup this week. I don't know if he's a must-have, but he was right on the borderline for me, and I think Ross will agree with this one because I think he's on his team. That's Sadiq Bey, the small forward for the Pistons. He's shooting threes. He's scoring points. He's giving you steals. He's kicking in assists too in the last couple of weeks. He's playing over 26 minutes a game, so he's getting some solid time. He doesn't have position flexibility. He's only a small forward. So I think that's what, in my mind, keeps him from being a must-own. But I really like him at this point in the season.
He's a shooting guard too, Casey.
As of today, he was only qualified at small forward on Yahoo.
Unless they changed it just to shoot. Well, there you go.
Well, we'll have to check
on me. What's the shooting guard last week? But I agree with you. I think with Blake Griffin not playing and being traded, and who knows what his future is, I think you're 100% right on Bay. Of course, I picked him up. I think he's a great looking kid, and I feel he's a great future in the NBA. And we'll see what happens.
I'm going to weigh in on that in a second, but we have our first question, and it is from Wichita Films, who, if you were watching last week, we think might have been on shrooms. We're going to find out now how he's doing. Wichita Films says, top 5 players that wear headbands, all time or this year, or Ross the Boss stand-up comics lineup. Interesting. All right, Ross, you weigh in first here.
Well, my favorite one, and Casey actually wore a headband last week, and I made a reference of it, is Bill Walton. When Bill Walton played for the Portland Trailblazers, that headband and the long hair and the teeth that were like almost wooden teeth he had. I mean, that whole look he had was unbelievable, and he was MVP one year too. But not Wooden. I'm talking about Bill Walton. He's my number one headbander guy ever. No one wore a headband like him.
I agree. There's no headband that beats Bill Walton. You looked at Bill Walton's headband and you were just like, it was kind of confusing for me because I would look at him and I'd be like, that guy has BO. I can tell he's got BO, but I love him anyway. That's what his headband said to me somehow. And he was just like he was such a workman-like guy, but he also was a superstar at the same time. Just crazy. I can't even think of, LeBron in his headband days, I love that. But
wasn't Dr. J a headband guy
Dr.
too?
J, Rondo wore a headband for a while. That was classic. I loved how he wore it. Curly Neal for the Globetrotters wore a headband. He was the
That's
best. There've been a lot of great headband people, but of course, Ross the Boss wears headbands, as we know. I have the headband actually right here.
Let's see it.
Here's my headband. I got this ready to go, and then
Perfect.
it actually says Ross the Boss on it, which I'll put right here. But if you want to buy these, you can go to my website and buy them. But with headbands, no, as we said, Bill Walton. Move on.
Yep. And listen, I have to announce it's our chat MVP. Sam Jacobowitz is here. He missed last stream. Sam, it's okay. You are forgiven. We weren't even mad at you, but we are glad that you're back. It was because of the Nets game. So, Sam, you can weigh in on anything that you saw in that or anything that you see going forward. I have to agree. The first headbands, though, that came to mind were Bill Walton. And then I did think of Rajon Rondo next. The man looks like Frozone from The Incredibles. Okay? And I thought he was modeled after him. Very strange. Okay, let's get back to the must-haves. I have both of those Detroit guys as deep league ads. I don't trust them yet, but hey, they could rise up. My must-haves, I'm not going to bore you with Justin Holiday. I've been saying him for the whole time, but he's I'm going to give you his stats. He ranks 30th overall in the last month. He's doing it. Now, another guy that I don't understand what's happening here, some people are cutting this player, is Jeremy Lamb. Why are people cutting Jeremy Lamb? Can you guys tell me this?
His point production is very low. His minutes are going down. Doug McDermott's getting more time right now when he's healthy, but Lamb is not producing points. His field goal percentage is bad. He's not producing like he should be, and people are mad. They want to get other players on their team like I do all the time.
But if you look in the last 30 days, his numbers are still.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just telling you, you're asking why he's being dropped. He's being dropped because he's not producing numbers. The first step people look at is what? It's not 3-point.
They look at I see.
Percentage.
You're right.
It's not steals. It's not blocks. It's points.
You're right. Listen, that explains it. It's that they look at points first. You hit the nail on the head. We have a comment from Sam Jacobowitz. It's about, of course, Kelly Oubre, who we talk about on about 17% of the time on this show is about Kelly Oubre. Oubre has been amazing. Ha, 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 Ross.
He's rubbing it into Ross. I like it.
Kelly Oubre, I really thought, Sam, in all seriousness, I thought he was going to be traded by now. I don't feel he fits in that system. I watch Golden State play all the time. I just feel he's not the right guy.
He might be figuring it out in that system.
But he's figuring it out. Let me finish my sentence.
Well,
before we talk about your guy Reed that plays the center for Minnesota, who's failed last week as in his stats. We'll talk about that later with your big as Reed, big disaster. But again, I feel that he's turned it around a little bit. I think the coach is putting him in the offense more. I just felt beginning of the season he was just not a good fit, Sam, and you know I'm right.
Well, now one thing I'll say. Listen, sometimes it's about the coach too. Steve Kerr is always going to coach people up well. So I could have seen it going either way. I did lean towards Ross's side on this. I didn't expect him to do it, but it might have just been wishful thinking because my cousin Andrew had him, and I was like, I need him
named his team after him.
Yeah, but let's give a little shout out. This is the part of the show where we all say, "I told you, Alec Burks sucks." I never
liked him. I told you that the first show.
No, I'm not saying I told you to you.
I was scrapping for players. I always said Alec Burks is a horrible.
No.
I
hated him on Utah. I never liked the guy. He can't shoot. He can't play defense. What's the point of having him on your team?
No, you were with me all along. It was Andrew who was saying he was good, and he held on to him, and now guess who's been cut? It's Alec Burks. Now, Sam is asking what is his ranking of late? Do you mean Kelly Oubre, Sam? Well, look. Or are you talking about Alec Burks? Alec Burks' ranking is tanking. Anyways, we'll get back to that. Yeah. But we're going to move on to other must-haves. And listen, we have to evaluate Naz Reid. We do have to talk about this. So, Casey, what do you think about Naz Reid this week?
Look, his numbers haven't been as strong as Karl Anthony Towns has gotten healthier. I don't think anybody's was expecting him to take the job away from Karl Anthony Towns. it's a rough week. I would give him some more time to see if this is actually the sign of a demise or he had a bad few games. So as much as Ross wants to say he was right because for 3 games, Naz Reid didn't put up great numbers, I tend to have a little longer leash than that.
I'm in agreement, especially because we've seen his upside. Also, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, he's had a really rough year, and that can lead to more times out. So I'd hold on to Naz Reid, but he clearly isn't a must-have anymore.
No, he's more in the deep dive, the deep league looks at this point.
Yes. All right. Now, I do have one other guy that I'm going to put in the must-haves, and I had him. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're going to get to this in a second. We have a comment from Wichita Films. This is a man with.
I can't wait to hear what this genius has to say. Let's hear let's see what genius remark he has to say. He has to write into our show. Waste our time. What's the question? Go.
I think this is not going to be a waste of time at all. But listen, he's actually just quoting someone else. He's quoting someone else. It's a rumor from someone named Joey the Dancer. You probably know who this is, Ross. He says there's a rumor that Ross is being dropped by this show. Any comments? Ross, we're going to come to you last.
No one's dropping Ross the Boss. Ross the Boss
I guess
is
we'll
here.
come to you first.
Ross the Boss is staying here. He's not going anywhere. To quote a movie called...
Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie?
I'm not going to say the movie, but basically Leonardo DiCaprio says, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. You're going to have to call the National Guard to get me out of here. You have to call a SWAT team to get me out of here. Do you remember that movie, The Wolf of Wall Street?
Course.
The Wolf of Wall Street. Thank you. So I'm not going anywhere, to quote The Wolf of Wall Street.
You have selected Agent Orange. All right. Now, listen, I mean, Casey and I have talked it over, and we never wanted to get rid of you. We don't know anything about Joey the Dancer. This guy's crazy. And when he threatened us to make you leave, I was like, get out of my house right now. Now,
we were concerned about the coronary you might suffer with all the rants you go on, but we're not dropping anytime soon.
True. No, absolutely not. Party Marty has joined us as well. I just want to say a shout out, hello to Party Marty, one of our best fans, and also one of the people that we are fans of. One of my favorite Canadians. He asks how things are going. Pretty well. We're in the middle of the show. I'll
pretty good, eh?
Afterwards. Pretty good, eh?
It's about
you hoser, eh? What are you doing here? Oh, I started to become Garf there. Maybe I'll do some Garf here. All right.
No, we're good. Let's move on.
See. Now, Sam Jacobowitz is commenting on Naz Reid. Let's just finish up that discussion. He says he's trash. Drop him. He gets no minutes.
18 minutes a game. Yep,
when Cat doesn't play, he's great. It's hard to argue with you, Sam, but I probably would hold him for at least one more week.
Yeah, I would too. I'm joking with you guys. I think it got to hold him. He actually had 18 points yesterday. He played like 17 minutes at 18 points. But again, before that, he was like 7 points, 11 points, 2 points. But just hold on to him unless you have somebody else was dropped in your league that's worth picking up. But
okay. Now we're going to do one. I'm going to do one more must have. But before we do,
I want to hear it. I have one more too. What is it?
No, it's going to be a cliffhanger because
Cliff.
Yes. A word from our sponsor with this cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah. From Kill Cliff, the #1 clean energy drink in the mind of Joe Rogan, comes the Flamin' Joe. Sugar-free, B vitamins, electrolytes, all them good drink things. An epic spicy pineapple fusion from out of this world, straight into your drink hole. Own it. KillCliff.com.
That's hypnotic. I come back feeling like Barry White or like a German person, depending on what Kill Cliff commercial. We both have Kill Cliff here. Casey's still waiting on his. It's coming soon. I'm going to finish this one up.
Delicious. Now I can talk. I'm ready to roll.
I'm going on right to the next one here. Yeah, here we go. I hope it doesn't spray all over my floor. There we go. Fresh new Kill Cliff.
I love when it touches my lips. I love the taste.
I love it when it hits my lips. Okay.
I can't comment yet.
Joe Ingles is my other must-have.
Average Joe. I love Joe Ingles. I've been watching him play the past.
I have him on my
playing
list
the Clippers. He's been playing the Lakers. He looks unbelievable.
He's been playing out of his mind in Utah.
He's been playing great. He's been shooting threes. He's been like shooting like 90% at the free throw line. This guy's unbelievable. Joe Ingles, to me, could be the most improved player in the league this year. I mean, that guy's shooting lights out. All Utah does is win games. I mean, they're unbelievable. They won 8 in a row already. and they're not going to lose in the future. Joe Ingles, for me, that's a great pickup. I like him a lot. I have him on my list too.
He was a sleeper of mine
Great
going
one.
into the year. Then he underperformed. And this is the kind of guy that when he underperforms, when he's consistent, you should grab him. I didn't expect him to go this high up in the rankings, but Utah's just playing that well. We're going to circle
so
back
well,
for a second.
and like Jordan Clarkson's like a top 40 play. He's like a 30-something player now. He's like playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Utah, almost all of
I
Utah
was
is
wrong.
playing well.
I was wrong about Jordan Clarkson. And the reason I was wrong about Jordan Clarkson is not because I was wrong about the kind of player he is. It's because I underestimated just how good Utah is. They are bringing out the best.
8 in a row, Dan.
talented.
Dan, just not 8 in a row, but they're beating good teams. And everybody predicted Milwaukee to win the East. They've lost 5 in a row, and they're losing right now against Toronto. I was watching before our show. Utah's for real. You got to be worried about them. I just feel they're playing well as a team, and they really don't have like major stars.
Weakness right now. Yeah.
It would be amazing to see the Utah Jazz win the championship with this team, and it could happen. So listen, we're going to circle back to something, but Ross, I want you to be very careful here because you're going to blow a gasket because Sam Jacobowitz is talking about Kelly Oubre still. And so we just talk about it
Change
one
the
more time.
subject.
No.
Hey,
we can't.
in
We have
fairness,
to
Sam
honor- it's
agreed with
Sam.
No Mason Plumlee. No
Naz Reid,
Mason
so
Plumlee.
Ross owes him
correct?
some slack.
Plumlee's off the table, and now I want Oubre off the table because it's a waste of time, a waste of breath.
No, listen,
What
Ross,
else
I'm
do you
going to
wanna
tell a
talk to
joke,
him about?
okay? I'm going to tell you a joke. Mason Plumlee, Kelly Oubre, and Sam Jacobowitz walk into a bar. No, I'm kidding.
And what happened?
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
So he was saying how our Oubre's numbers this month. We'll move on very quickly from this, Ross, because I don't want you to have a coronary. Do you either of you know what Oubre's numbers are? Because if you don't, I'm going to ask Sam Jacobowitz to research this.
I've been following him. He's been averaging like 20-something points a game. He's been playing great. Golden State's playing really well as a team right now, even though they can't beat teams that are over 500. We'll talk about that later. But doesn't matter. Oubre is he's playing great. But the thing about Oubre is, I don't know how long it's going to go on for. Next week we'd be sitting here and I can say, what happened to Oubre last week? And no answers. So
Yep.
Let's not talk about him. We have more people. I have so many more people I want to talk about with Casey and you and everything else.
All right. Well, we're going to move on. And I'm going to take Sam's suggestion. Casey, he's
Yes.
saying that he feels bad for you because you're not getting enough airtime. He's even saying you get no airtime.
Well, Ross is hard to, he never shuts up. So I just let him have his space. That's why people think he's going to be dropped from the show. It makes sense. I mean, he hangs himself a lot.
I mean, listen, you're also very succinct with what you say. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just keep bringing it back to you. And so you'll be.
Well,
on
I
the
do
spot,
have another
okay?
player I wanted to bring up. I brought him up last week. Sam wasn't here last week, so he didn't hear this guy. But Jayshawn Tate is still playing great in Houston. He's still putting up big numbers, points and rebounds. He's getting almost a steal a game. He's even throwing in 2 or 3 assists a game. So he's another one who is just consistently getting minutes and playing well right now for the last almost 3 or 4 weeks. And so I think he's in that, maybe not must add, but in that tier right below it.
I have him in the solid pickups, and we're about to move there unless you guys have anybody else to add in must-haves. Ross, do you have anybody?
One more. He wasn't a cold streak the past couple of weeks. Now he's back, baby. He's back in big numbers. He's getting playing time. He plays for Oklahoma City. Darius Baisley. For me, he's somebody that I watched him play against the Lakers recently, and he looked unbelievable. He had like 24 points against the Lakers. He played great. And he's somebody that's getting playing time, getting confidence. And I feel that if you don't pick him up this week, I think he can lose out. So Baisley this week is a great pickup. And if you have him on your roster, you should pick him up.
Here's a must add just because of an injury that we didn't say, and that's Nerlens Noel is still under 60% owned, and Mitchell Robinson just went down.
Good.
So Noel is going to give you defensive stats out the wazoo. He's not going to shoot for a bad percentage because I don't think he shoots from more than 1.5 feet away from the rim. So if he can get some buckets, that's a bonus. He's going to get you rebounds and blocks, and he's going to finally live up to what we were hoping to see out of him, I think, in the preseason. And Robinson just had surgery, so he's out for a while. So there's not a lot of competition for minutes in the middle on the Knicks right now. So I think Noel's another really good, solid must-have.
Noel's a great one. And also, KC, last week he averaged 26 minutes a game, which is huge for him because he usually gets like 13 minutes a game. Noel is a great pickup. He was on my next tier down, but Noel, I would have to say, if you need a power forward or a center, he's somebody that you should consider. I think you're 100% right on that one.
I agree. I had him as a must-have last week before I
Right.
even knew Mitchell Robinson went down. Now
Yeah.
listen, Party Marty
Right.
is departing. So Party Marty, listen, you hoser. Yeah, I know where you're going, and I'm gonna send you a beer, and I'm gonna become Garth if we do this for long enough. Then I start to talk like this. Okay, now Sam Jacobowitz agrees with me. Nerlens Noel is a must-have. I felt he was even last week. His efficiency and his blocks are just
The only reason I didn't like him is because his minutes per game
Yep.
was
Yep.
very low, and I didn't like guys playing 13 minutes a game. I don't want guys doing that.
I
You
know. Look, but my point was that he'll win you playoff matchups. But I think we've covered the must-haves pretty well.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna move to solid pickups. I have Jayshawn Tate as one of my solid pickups.
Yes.
I'm gonna throw out a couple of names that have emerged on the list that I didn't have before. Kent Bazemore is starting to show good signs of life. He's not like the sexiest pickup. It's true. It's because he's a man. I'm just not that into it. But Kent Bazemore otherwise is a very good player to have. He's ranked in the top 70 over the last 30 days, and he does a little bit of everything. And so I think he's a great pickup. The other one is Josh Hart. Josh Hart he's growing as a player. He's coming along, and I have him in solid pickups. Guys, who else do you have in the solid pickups? And I also want to say a quick shout out. Hello to Tony Todd. I haven't seen you in hours, my friend. Welcome back.
I have, and I hate to say it because it's a Dookie, and I, as a Terp fan, I've grown to never like Duke players, but Grayson Allen is playing really well right now. He's making almost, in the last 2 weeks, he's averaging almost 4 3-pointers a game. He's putting up points. He's getting a few rebounds and assists. He's even getting a steal a game. He's putting up really solid numbers. He qualifies at both shooting guard and small forward, so he gives you a little versatility, and he contributes across the board. So I hate to say it, I'm assuming he's going to, trip somebody or kick him in the junk pretty soon and get suspended. But while he's playing, he's a great pickup.
Casey Scheinwald, have you no moral compass? You would pick up Grayson Allen.
Trust me, it pains me to say it, but the one thing I don't like about fantasy sports is it makes you kind of have to root for people you would never root for in real life.
But also, let's admit it. You grew up with Adam Scheinwald. This guy, he's got a little bit of sociopathy to him, and
Yes.
now you see Grayson Allen and you're willing to pick him. I can't.
I know it's rubbing off on me. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
Yes, no, I wouldn't pick up Grayson Allen if he was the number one player. No, I'll pick him up, but I'd trade him immediately. Now I want to recognize Wichita Films is saying the Canadian talk is Bob and Doug McKenzie of Strange Brew. Absolutely, he horked my clothes. I knew what I was talking about, but I just started to sound like Garth, like when I try to do a German accent and I end up sounding like Count Dracula. It's just the kind of thing that happens. Now listen, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. We want to have debates with you. We want to have some debates.
And Sam,
All
I
right.
want to point out that Ross hasn't spoken in at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
And
That's
we're
a
getting
record.
more airtime for Casey now, except I just cut him off. Sorry. I really blew that one. Sam says to trade for Ricky Rubio. I think Ricky Rubio is a great pickup.
And that's
I
one
actually
of
don't know
Ross's guys.
I don't know where his rostered percentage is at this point. Oh, Wichita Film says Grayson just tripped up Ross the boss in Ross's private gym.
I like Grayson Allen, and Rubio's a great pickup. If you don't need points, Rubio's good with assists, even steals. He's actually stealing the ball a lot this year, but he's not a point guy. He's not going to score 20 points a game. He's going to score 7-8 points a game with 6 assists, maybe 4 or 5 rebounds, maybe a couple steals here and there. But again, if you need assists, Rubio's your man.
But now is the part of the episode where I remind everyone in the entire world over the internet that Sam Jacobowitz is in a points league. So that's
right.
another reason Rubio is even more valuable.
my appreciation of Rubio, who was been in the league, I think, ever since the beginning of time, because I remember when he first came in the league when he was 18 years old from Spain, and he was supposed to be this big phenom, and he had great years. I'm not saying he did. He's not a bad player, but I thought he was going to be a lot better than he is. But that's me. I'm Ross the Boss.
He ended up being more of a role player. It's true.
Yeah, there you go. Role player is a great name. Let me tell you somebody else that brings joy to say his name, because he went to the best university in the country. He went to Arizona State, where James Harden went. And this guy plays for Oklahoma City. He wasn't drafted. And he came out he only spent 1 year in college. He's from Montreal, Canada. and he went to Arizona State. Is Mount Crez Dort. It's not Dork, like Casey would say. It's Dort. So
Dort.
No, that's only when I'm
Dort.
talking to you.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So Lacrest Dort, he's playing 33 minutes a game in the past 2 weeks. 17 points.
Did you see the
7
dunk he had
assists.
the other night? That
I
was
mean,
insane.
this guy is playing great. If you need a good guard, shooting guard, point guard, he's your guy. He's available in a lot of leagues, like I think 72% of them. So go ahead and pick up not Dork, but Dort, D-O-R-T.
Oh, don't worry, Ross. Everybody remembers Dort from Waiver Wire Week 1 when Dr. Dan Ratner brought him up.
I know, but he's still right. But there's a lot of players I can mention that I bring up that you bring up like a week later. I don't say anything. I'd be very quiet. I build you up like I should. What I'm saying right now is Dort is a guy that's available still. You should pick him up.
I agree, but I will say this. If people have like a one-word association with Ross the Boss, it's quiet. That's for sure. All right. Now, I've got another player who I think is a very solid pickup, but I'm wavering on him a little bit. Ivica Zubac. Where do we think this guy fits in your pickups? Casey, I'm going to give you some
I've been asking
airtime.
Ross about him for the last few weeks because he's our resident Clippers expert. And he kind of said, he kind of always gave me the meh kind of response, and you can hear him groaning in the background. So I don't know what to think of him because I trust Ross when it comes to the Clippers.
This is what happens to him. Let me just tell you what he does. He starts for the Clippers. He's a starting center. Then he comes out of the game and he doesn't come back to like the fourth quarter. So playing time for him, plays like 20 minutes a game. He'll get you some rebounds, but he doesn't get enough playing time for me to have him on my team. I like him, but I'm just afraid of like him getting lost in the shuffle. I like Marcus Maurice Sr. better. I mean,
yeah,
I feel he's averaging 21 points a game right now in the past 2 weeks, but Paul George hasn't played. I'm sure that will go down when Paul George comes back. But what I'm just saying with the Clippers need a really good center that can actually play center and get rebounds and not just shoot 3-pointers like some of the other guys they have on their team that do that. But it's fine. It's okay. I understand. I still love the Clippers. I feel Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who's on the starting team of the All-Star West team, which I'm excited about. Congratulations, Kawhi. I feel he's not high on my list. I wish.
Did you guys ever see the Kawhi interview where he first came to Toronto? You know this one where he's like,
no.
Oh my God, you guys, everyone out there has
to
Google
the deer with headlights one? He looks like he looks like, if you look at his eyes, he looks like a deer with headlights.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and he actually looked like there was just like nobody there. He was
yes, that's it. I seen it. Yes, I seen it.
He said, I'm a fun guy. They asked him how he was. He said, I'm a fun guy. And everyone was like, what is it? And then he laughed in this crazy way. Anyways, if Kawhi Leonard's available, pick him up.
Yeah, you should pick him up. I have somebody I want to bring up and I want to hear your opinion on because I mentioned him last week, but we didn't spend much time talking about him. And he's playing a lot of minutes still. And that's TJ McConnell in Indianapolis. He is in Indiana. He's averaging almost 8 or 9 assists per game at this point for the last 3 weeks. And that's really hard to come by in this league. And so I wasn't sure whether I'd put him into the second bracket or the top bracket because I mean, that's a crazy amount of assists to be able to get on the waiver wire.
I know
Indiana had some injuries. I know that TJ got a lot more playing time because a couple of their guards were hurt. Those guards are coming back and they're playing now. And that being said, I'm worried about his playing time.
Okay.
But if you need assists on your team, it could be a good streamer for you to pick up. But again, he's a guy that's like one category, maybe 2 categories, but that's it.
You know what's
he's
really
also
weird
averaging
about him?
almost 2 steals a game. So
I'm see steals and assists. That's what
steals and assists, right? You know what's weird about him is he has historically been a very good free throw shooter. He's shooting 30% from
wow.
Oh,
he doesn't get there very often, but
that's amazing. I can't believe that stat. I didn't know that. I didn't. That's amazing.
Oh. Well, listen, I study things very carefully when they're on Andrew's team. I was like, what is that? I don't like that. And I was like, oh, good. He's shooting 30% from the line. That feels good. So we have another question from Wichita Films. He says he wants to know who's winning the championship this year. Now, Wichita Films, whenever people ask that question nationally, we assume that you mean in our league. And so I'm going to win the championship.
I think he means NBA. I don't think.
Oh, in the NBA, Okay,
I don't
okay.
mean your little fancy league that only has waiver wire Monday morning. You can only pick up a player Monday morning once a week during the year of COVID, a year when there's weather conditions are canceling games. People are getting injured like crazy. But no, our commissioner will only make it once a week because he has no idea what he's doing.
I have to give you
sitting there at home talking to
guys,
patients 24 hours a day, and I'm sitting here trying to pick up players.
And meanwhile, I have played by the same rules, and I'm completely whipping your ass. So it's happening.
Durant's hurt. Another guy's being traded. He's sitting down.
It's true, but I want to give a stat.
It's a disaster for me this week. It really is. I feel
it is, and I'm going to give a stat.
And my man, Casey Scheinfeld, he has Luka, and Luka supposed to play. And this game was canceled because of weather.
I also have Paul George, Christian Wood, and
Christian Wood. I feel bad for my man, Casey Scheinfeld.
So my team is decimated.
It's such a great team.
But I'm not ranting every week.
Because of the waiver conditions in our league, you can't improve your team. It's ridiculous.
We have to teach him about emotional regulation.
Yeah, we're going to do a meditation after the show.
No meditation. But the championship, if you watch our preseason show, I took the Nets. Everybody else took the Lakers. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have to say the Jazz are emerging as a team that could win. I still would be surprised to see them actually get it done when
they're not going to beat the Lakers.
I still think at the end of the year it's going to be the Lakers and the Sixers standing in the finals. I'm not sure who's going to win that. It depends on the health of the teams because isn't AD hurt?
Not a bad pick, Casey Scheinfeld.
No,
I like it.
I actually totally agree with you, except on one point, which is it only depends on the health of the teams. If LeBron James and Anthony Davis are both out for the entire series, otherwise the Lakers are going to mop the floor with them.
Okay, I don't think they'll mop the floor with them.
Sam Jacobowitz, I have noted your request to see Ross's team, but unfortunately, I didn't hook up my computer for that capability.
You do it on Monday. On Tuesday when you do their show, you can look at it.
On the Q&A, we're going to go through you. If as long as you're here, Sam, we'll go through Ross's team and we'll critique it, and Ross will make comments, and most of them will be about the waiver wire in our league. Now,
it's the worst. It's the worst ever. The worst ever. I've never been in a league that's ran so poorly in my life, Sam. It's so embarrassing. I mean, I have a hockey league I do with these guys, and it's run perfectly. It's like a
well-oiled machine.
Good.
You'll never guess who the commissioner is.
This is the worst.
Hey, don't be sorry you forgot about it. You have a life. It's okay. But come hang out with us anytime. Now, Wichita Films wants to make a point about you, Ross, which is, Sam, every draft, no matter the sport, Ross drafts either Bengals or Reds. I don't
draft Bengals. That's not true. He has no idea what he's talking about. I don't take any allegiance during fantasy sports at all. I don't have one Clipper on my team. I'm a big Clipper fan. I don't have one. I have two Miami Heat though. I have a Miami Heat shirt on. I have two Miami Heat players on my team. I have none. I have Hero. I love Tyler Hero. He's unbelievable. He had 15 rebounds the other night. He's great. He's unbelievable. He's great.
So listen, Wichita Films, we did a fact check on this, and it turns out that was a rumor spread by Joey the Dancer. So this is not real. Now, guys,
okay,
we're running low. We're running low on time, and we haven't even gotten to our deep league pickups.
I know.
We might not have even finished our solid pickups. So and our trade targets. So now we're going to turn it into high gear. We're going to need to drink some Kill Cliff.
I'll just throw some names out that you should.
Go ahead, throw some names out. Go ahead. Go.
So
yes.
Corey Joseph is Sacramento. Corey Joseph is averaging the past week 16 points a game. He's getting a lot more playing time. He's somebody that you should just take a look at. If you need a player, just think about Corey Joseph. Jay Crowder of Phoenix, he's starting to get a lot more playing time. He averaged over 30 minutes a game last week. He's starting to get rebounds. If you need rebounds and points and even like blocks, he's doing unbelievable right now. He's somebody I like a lot. And somebody else that's getting playing time now in New Orleans, he's back in the rotation. Before he was sitting on the bench. If you need rebounds, and I know Dr. Dan Radner needs rebounds, so this guy could be for you, is Willie Harmon Gomez. I'm sorry I blew that name up. Willie Harmon Gomez. So Willie is in he's actually the backup center now. He's playing like 23 minutes a game. For the past week, he's been averaging 11 points a game, but he's been averaging 8 rebounds a game, Dr. Dan. 8 rebounds a game. He's been in the rotation. So that being said, just keep an eye on him. I'm not saying to pick him up today or tomorrow, but just keep an eye on him because he's somebody that's in the rotation that somebody should be aware of. And Ross the Boss will tell you all this information first before anybody else does. I'm Ross the Boss.
This is reminding me of when I took all of the founding fathers and pretended they were Hispanic and came up with Jorge Washington Torres. He sounded something like that. Willie Hernan Gomez.
And a couple other guys, Carmelo Anthony. You're saying, Ross, you're picking Carmelo Anthony, the 4-time Olympian, that's in the brink of retirement. Why are you bringing his name up? He's averaging like 20 points a game in the past 2 weeks. He's getting the ball. He's shooting. He's not going to get you any more stats except points. He's not. If you're in a point league, he's a good player. But if you need points in your league, he's the guy. He's not a rebounder. He's not an assist guy. He doesn't pass the ball. He doesn't know what a pass is. But again, his field goal percentage is getting better every game. He's just getting the ball a lot more. Him and Lillard are carrying that team right now because of the injuries. But that all being said, I think Carmelo right now is good. Another guy that a lot of people forgot about or dropped him or no one has him in the league because he hasn't played in so long, and he's coming back next week. You heard it from me first, Ross the Boss, is a guy who plays for the Cleveland Cavs. I don't know if Dr. Dan knows him, but his name is Kevin Love. He went to UCLA. Kevin Love is coming back. He's in practice. He's been practicing. He's looking good, and he's going to be in that rotation because Andre Drummond is no longer on the team, and he's sitting on the bench waiting to be traded. And Kevin Love is going to come in, and he'll be playing a lot. So Kevin Love, if he's available on your team, I don't know if he's available in your league. It could be because people forgot about him.
All right, listen, I'm going to weigh in quickly on a couple of comments. First of all, Wichita Films is fighting back. He says he assures us that Pete Rose is on Ross's team. And also, Sam Jacobowitz says Tyler Hero is the most overrated player in the league. And I mostly agree with him. But
Tyler Hero,
you got to look at his numbers.
You have no idea what he's talking about. Tyler Hero pops threes. He scores points. He had 15 rebounds. He had 15 rebounds last game.
Those stats are fine, but I'm going to give you another.
If you don't like Tyler Hero, you're not an American. Then he went to the University of Kentucky. He has no idea what he's talking about. Hero is a hero in Miami. And for him to say that is just not patriotic. How dare you?
I am not an American. Then I don't know what accent I'm doing now.
Tyler Hero is a true American.
Tyler Hero is underrated. I'm going to give you another stat. Sam Jacobowitz and I are two people who sat in front of computers and saw that his numbers weren't that good. All right. Now, I'm going to give two other deep league pickups that came on my radar this week that were not there before. Jalen Brunson of the Mavs and Isaiah Roby of the Orlando Magic. They both have shown a lot of scoring and some good defensive stats. Jalen Brunson, especially, his numbers are up in terms of scoring. And I know everybody loves scoring, so I don't know why people aren't all over this. I think they're going to be next week, so this is your week to get him. Casey Scheinvold, who are we missing before we move to trades?
Well, I had Isaiah Roby, and then I had Dorian Finney-Smith in Dallas as well, who's getting some points and rebounds for you. He's shooting over 2-3. He's making over 2 threes a game, and he goes on streaks where he can get a lot of steals for you. So he contributes in a few areas also. So that would be one player I would add that wasn't mentioned as a deep look.
I think that's good, and he's tied for the league lead in hyphens, so that's pretty good. Now, let's go to trades. Guys, we said this last week, there are generally two types of people that you want to target in trades. They're either people who they're outperforming their ranking like crazy and people don't believe in them enough, or they're people who have a very high ranking and have been underperforming, and you want to scoop them up while you still can. So give me two trade targets. We're going to start with Casey Scheinvold.
All right. I'm going to go with one of my own players, and that's Paul George. The guy's missed almost 2 straight weeks. His numbers are obviously suppressed just because he's not playing. You probably have a very frustrated manager in your league or owner of him in your league, and you might be able to get him because between the COVID stuff and then his foot that he's been dealing with, he hasn't played in a while, and the owner might be really frustrated with him. Kevin Durant's kind of in that same boat. You might be able to get Kevin Durant less expensive than normal. On the other side, I don't think people appreciate how good Terry Rozier has been this year for Charlotte and what he's doing there. His numbers are pretty incredible as recently as, this past week, but he's ranked in the last 14 days. In the last month, he's ranked in the top 30. In the last 14 days, he's moved up to the top 15. He's scoring a bunch. He's getting rebounds. He's getting assists. He's getting steals, and he's shooting for great percentages. And he was 150 preseason ranking. So he might be somebody who you might be able to target because he can really help you and might not cost you as much as a typical top 15 player.
All right, now I'm going to spread the wealth around in terms of who I'm targeting. First of all, Chris Paul is on my team, so I'm going to just start with that. He always ends up ranked like in the top 10, and he's always ranked preseason in the 30s. and he has performed. He's ranked 8th in the last month. Zion Williamson has completely he has completely blown the doors off of my prediction that he would be a bad fantasy player.
Yeah,
Boss
I think
the boss,
you had him as your bust.
You were right. He was one of my number one busts.
I feel with Zion, I like Zion a lot. I knew he was going to be a superstar in the league. I'm not bad mouthing him. What I am saying about him is this: he has to rebound more to be more valuable in fantasy. He does not.
And he needs more threes. He needs more threes.
Well, he's not he's built like a truck. I don't expect him to be like a great 3-point shooter, but if he is great, but I do expect him to rebound. I mean, he can box out anybody he wants. Anybody he wants in the league, he can box out. He's the heaviest player in the league right now. I don't know if you know that.
Here's a question, not to derail this, but LeBron James came out a few days ago and said he got NFL offers during the lockout to play for NFL teams. Would you rather have LeBron James or Zion Williamson on an NFL field?
Oh, wow.
That's a great question.
Listen, I'm going to go with
Zion,
youth there.
Man, that guy just
I'm going with youth. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. I don't want LeBron.
Supposedly has a great arm, and supposedly somebody I know played in a flag football game against him. And LeBron was quarterback, and LeBron's arm was like unbelievable. He said he's never seen a guy throw a ball like that unless it was an NFL quarterback, and he was that good.
The truth is, I would take LeBron James. The guy.
LeBron James is a great athlete. I think Zion's a little soft compared to LeBron. I think LeBron's
I'm going with LeBron.
The guy busted out of his own shoe.
Yeah,
I love Zion. You don't have to tell me, but I'm just saying LeBron's tougher. I just feel LeBron is just. I just feel LeBron.
Okay.
He plays and LeBron loves to play. He's a player.
We got a couple of comments from the audience. Jason Tatum's been underperforming. Sam Jacobowitz points out he's a buy low. AD is a buy low. I totally agree with that.
AD, of course.
Absolutely.
Before the injury, he was a buy low. He was on my list. Before the injury, I mean, he's not rebounding.
He was just underperforming.
He's 22 points a game, which is low for him. He's like, I think he's like 8 rebounds a game, which is low for him. And I feel he's just waiting to play in the playoffs. I don't think he cares that much of the regular season. That's how I felt when he started the season. And now he's hurt. So now he can sit out for 3 weeks and just get better. Another guy that I think is performing very low, he's been hurt and he came back and he's been averaging 16 points a game, which is very low for this guy, is John Morant. John Morant, for me, is one of the best players in the league when he's healthy, and he's healthy right now. But
listen,
he's not playing like it. 16 points a game since he get back with the injuries. Not that good. He's not an all-star with those numbers, right, Casey? No.
Okay, so now I'm starting to think. Listen, I'm sorry to interrupt, Casey, because I know you don't get enough airtime. But listen, I'm starting to think that Wichita Films is actually Ross, because Ross said, "Get Morant healthy again," and then he said it on the show. It's unbelievable. These guys are just like hive mind.
Well, Morant's been really disappointing. I mean, the thing about Morant is this, and I'll tell you this right now. And when we get closer to playoffs, he'll be getting triple doubles. He'll be averaging 25, 30 points a game. That's why you want to scoop him up right now. The owner that has him is probably frustrated. He's probably saying, this guy's not a second round, third round pick. This guy's a 5th or 6th round pick. I want to get rid of this guy now. That's how Ross the boss is going to creep up and grab him from somebody in our league and grab him and be happy with them.
You better do it by trades, because from what I understand in your league, you can't pick up players mid-week, so it doesn't matter.
You can't.
Listen, let's not distract from the fact that Ross started to go soft porn on us there. It was happening. I heard it. Okay,
the worst commissioner.
I have a couple of like mid-range guys that, and Terry Rozier is a little bit above these, but Jordan Clarkson, it's at this point, it's worth trading for him. He is performing at that level. He's going to stay at that level. Jeremy Grant is this player who has just been playing out of his mind. It's continued. Go ahead and grab him. You can believe.
But remember Jeremy Grant, last week he was very cold. It was a great week to trade for him. He's finally coming back a little bit, but he was cold for 2 weeks, Jeremy Grant. So now is a great time to trade for him, because the owner right now in his mind going, this guy's not that good. So
exactly. He's going to start to think he fell off a cliff. This is when you pounce. Now, Wichita Films has one more.
Let's go. What is it? Better be good.
Now, it could be you. I don't know. But he says, should we talk about my bro, Dax? That sounds like you.
My brother is named Dax, but
I think that there's identity.
Wichita Films knows both Dax and I very well. We've known Wichita Films for many years when he lived in Los Angeles, and No, we're not talking about my brother Dax. He's boring. He works for Disney.
But listen, is that his actual name? Is he named Mr. Films? Wichita Films?
Yeah, Mr. We call him Mr. Films in the business. Huge executive in the film business. I can't give his real name out, but yes.
Yeah, he's just Wichita Films. Okay, guys, any other trade targets before we wrap up today? And I also want to acknowledge there's something that I didn't mention here that I really should always mention, which is if you want to come on the show, you can dial. You can't dial in. You can go on the internet. We don't dial up anymore. What is happening to me?
You can use your rotary phone and call us. And
you use
pick up your shoe phone. Hello, Max.
I love Get Smart. I know that trivia. Yeah.
So you can go to www.callmfsn.com if you'd like to come on by video or by audio. I should have reminded you, and that's obviously why no one came on. So next week, we'll be doing that. Is there anyone else that you would say is a major trade target or somebody we didn't mention? It's the last call.
I love this player. I have to mention him every time we do the show.
Or Ross.
Is LaMelo Ball. Just LaMelo Ball.
Yep, you mentioned him last week.
Pick him up, get him. Listen, he's unbelievable. He's the real deal.
I honestly think
he's still growing. He's unbelievable. Just pick him up.
I think Chris Boucher in Toronto right now is a good trade target. He started the year off slow. I think it was even brought up on this show a few weeks ago whether he was droppable, and his numbers have certainly improved over the last few weeks. He's wrapped up in trade rumors. He might go to a contender where they need a big man, and that'll only help his numbers, I think, even more, as he has more to play for than he does right now in Toronto. So I think if you have an owner who might be a little sour on him because of the way he started the season, he's certainly a good trade target too.
Now, I'm just going to make one last point before we wrap up. And if there's any questions out there, guys, let us know, because we'll answer one more. We have time. But I'm going to make a statement that this is the time of year when you can find a lot of value, because there's a lot hidden in the numbers at this point. There's enough numbers to bury certain players. And you can, if you start to search for last 14 days or last 30 days, you could find somebody who's going bananas and their overall ranking doesn't look that good. So that is a wisdom gem for
buy
you.
High, buy low, sell high.
Yeah, that's better.
There you go.
Well, buy low, sell high. That's so cliche. What I'm saying is the numbers are buried.
I'm trying to do something.
You can find buried treasure.
Buy high, sell low.
There you go. And meanwhile, we'll end on a quote from the McKenzie brothers.
This is great.
And I appreciate you watching. Actually, before we do that, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, hit like if you don't like what you're hearing, because that's weird, and put your comments below. And we will end on this quote from the McKenzie brothers. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been MFSN's Waiver Wire Show for basketball.
Oh, look, coming down the runway is Kill Cliff, the clean energy drink. It's in a brand new can. Oh, look how the colors pop. Boom, boom. Oh, beautiful tan, the front, the back. Gorgeous. Oh, and the flavor, it's still the same awesome taste. I want it in my mouth right now. Oh, so sexy. Go to killcliff.com. Oh, do it now.